welcome to this edition of MBC News. Now, a lot of people have a fear of flying, but for one student, it's quite the opposite. Instead of taking classes here at MHS, he goes to the airport every day to take flying classes. Kylie Agan brings us the story.
While most students are stuck in a classroom all day, junior Tyler Hirsch gets to take his classes thousands of feet up in the air. This may seem unusual, but at the Warren County Career Center, Tyler is just another student starting his career in flying.
There's no real way to describe flying. It's kind of just an unreal experience. You're up there, you're looking down on everyone, and you just feel at peace. You're in your own space, high above the world.
Aviation instructor David Miller expresses how students get involved in this program.
In addition to entertaining the sophomores from the local area, where we have a sophomore a 3-day event where they can choose to come out, and we try to showcase a little bit of what we do out here in about an hour. So this coming December, the 3rd through the 5th, we'll be offering those sophomore days, which is historic for the Career Center. Does it annually, and the students will get to choose if they want to come to the airport for about an hour, and we will showcase the various curriculum and events and resources that we have, such as they'll get to fly a flight simulator, they'll get to witness a demonstration for a UAV, they'll get a tour of our hangar where projects are being conducted.
I absolutely love this program. There's nothing I would change about it. Just coming out to an airport every day for school, it's kind of hard to beat that. So it's kind of just better preparation. It's almost like a job. I mean, you're here, you're focused, and just bettering yourself for life.
The aviation program at the Warren County Career Center is one of the many programs they offer to help students get a head start on their career. High school students often dream of what their future holds, but by taking advantage of this program, Tyler Hirsch is getting a head start in getting his career off the ground. I'm Kylie Agan, MBC News.
Dreams are achieved through hard work, passion, and determination. And for one MHS senior, his dream of becoming a rapper is turning into a reality. Maria Mori has the story.
At one point in our lives, we've all dreamt of what it would be like to be famous. Mason High School senior Jonah Rousseau is taking a big step to turn this dream into reality.
When I was about 13, I got decently good at just like hanging out in the basement and freestyling, whatever. And then it got to a point when I was like 14 and 15, all I wanted to do was write raps. And then I hooked up with Self-Diploma and thought that we actually might have a chance at this thing. So right now, that's what me and my team are working on. We're just working on seeing how far we can get with this.
Jonah puts a lot of hard work and time into striving to be successful at what he loves.
It's like, I don't know, how a 5-year-old kid would feel about his piano recital or something like that. You know, all the work, all the stress, all the fun you have doing it, everyone involved, all the tickets. I mean, it all just kind of is nice to go out there and just let everything pour out, and then when it's over, you celebrate, and then you move on to the next show, and you move on to the next project. So it's a strange feeling, one that definitely can't be explained, but highly recommended.
As Jonah finishes his high school career, he's getting a great head start on his future in music. I'm Maria Mori, MBC News.
Haunted houses usually consist of people dressing up as monsters, clowns, and other characters to scare people. But one factory in Mason just needs its history to freak people out. Michael Wagner has the story.
Halloween has come to a close, and area haunted attractions are shutting down for the season. These houses of horror provide an excitement for thrill seekers and fear followers of all ages. Now, just 6 miles from William Mason's front doors, the Peters Cartridge Company, locally known as the Old Powder Factory, delivers haunts and scares all seasons of the year.
Opened in the early 1860s, the factory was built to produce gunpowder, bullets, and cannonballs for the Civil War. The Peters Cartridge Company continued to make bullets and explosives for over a century. Numerous fatalities occurred due to explosions and fires, including one incident in 1890 that killed 11 men instantly. Cincinnati native author and historian Randy McNutt has written 2 books on the subject.
In 1890, there was an explosion on a July day, and it was so intense and powerful that supposedly people as far away as Columbus could hear the explosion, slightly. And for sure around this area, other towns heard it all over. Lebanon heard it very, very easily, and killed a number of people and started a fire. One guy said that he was a kid and he was going to school, and this explosion happened. He said it was like the sun came out of a hillside, and he said all the apples dropped off a tree that he was under, and so it was really a severe explosion. I mean, it killed, I'd have to look into my book to see how many, I can't recall, but it killed a number of people.
In a building so gripped with death and destruction, many believe that the Peters Cartridge Company is now haunted by those who have met their demise during the factory's tumultuous history.
Bikers on the Little Miami bike path, which runs just below the ominous factory, have claimed to see shadows in the vacant windows. Unexplained footsteps, strange sounds, and mysterious whispers have caused Mason students to have an urge to explore this factory of fear. While exploring may be tempting, this haunted factory is private property, and intrusion may lead to trouble with the law.
Fact or fake, spooky tale or true tear, it's up for you to decide. I'm Michael Wagner, MBC News.
As it's getting colder outside, the walk from the pool lot seems to be getting longer. Luckily, us seniors don't have to deal with that anymore. Unfortunately for you underclassmen, you do. But some are taking this long walk, making it a shorter one, by scootering their way into school. Paige Meyer has the story.
Turning 16 is an exciting time. Finally not having to rely on your parents or the bus for a ride to school. With these new driving privileges also comes the dreadful walk from the pool lot. Junior Megan Grable came up with a unique way to make this walk a little less painful.
Well, we were actually around the dinner table one night, and my dad was like, Meg, if you get there super late, why don't you just ride something in? And we're trying to brainstorm ideas of what that something could be, and then we came up with the scooters because we've had those for quite some time, and it's legendary,
Now there are even more people involved, including one of Megan's good friends, Jill Viteri.
I think it's spread to a few people. I see maybe I actually have seen 5 different people scootering or using skateboards, and it's definitely convenient because I'm not making a 10-minute walk anymore, and with the scooter it made a 10-minute walk to a 4-minute drive.
Every licensed underclassman understands what a burden this walk can be, but using things like scooters and skateboards makes this walk a little more enjoyable. I'm Paige Meyer, MBC News.
Being new last year, I know exactly how it feels transitioning into a new school. But imagine coming from a completely different country, not knowing any English, and going from the hard life you once lived to life here in Mason. Well, these next students know exactly how that feels. Priya Patel has the story.
Kids who have moved know the difficulties of moving from one school district to another. Now, imagine being thrown into a completely different continent where you're expected to learn a new culture and language. Tuvu, Mario, and Matthew Ishak are some of the many students that had to experience this culture shock.
I came here 2 years ago, and all of the Vietnamese people think American is a wonderful place to live, so I want my future to be better than in Vietnam, so I came here with my family.
Twins Mario and Matthew recently had to face the challenge of moving to Mason, having to adapt from their native Egyptian to American culture.
Our first year, I would say it was our worst year. We couldn't speak English at all. We didn't know any words. If someone said anything, I would just say, yeah, yeah. And the teacher, especially, we were in ESL that first year, and they were helping us in our homework and our tests, and that helped us a lot.
While most people move here to live the American dream, the twins' pursuit of their dream helps them escape the harsh realities of there's
once I was walking in the street, and there was there's 4 dead bodies, and they ran next to me. I was so scared. I just ran away. They were just in the street. No one is talking to them. There's nothing happened to them. They throw them in the sidewalk. No one get near them or do anything to them.
I think it was worse. Some of the streets was all of his blood.
Oh yeah.
People was in the churches and they burned them.
We don't realize how some of our daily habits, as simple as communicating with our peers, could be a hard challenge to overcome. 2, Mario and Matthew are students that have moved to Mason by crossing oceans and barriers of culture. I'm Priya Patel, MBC News.
You see them on the field every Friday night, and if you drive by the school in the evening, you'll hear them practicing. Now you may be thinking that being in the band is a simple task, but how hard do they really work? Rachel Froge has the story.
To most people, they see this as your ordinary parking lot. But to the students here at MHS that are involved in marching band, they see this, well, kind of like it's their second home. For months, they spend countless hours going over choreography and rehearsing their memorized set lists over and over again. But it's not all fun and games, because they refuse to settle for anything less than a perfect 10-minute performance. Some think practice makes perfect, but to the band members, perfect practice makes perfect.
With band, it's all about conformity and everyone being the same 24/7, so you feel the constant pressure to be absolutely perfect, especially when you're up against hundreds of other bands and you can differ, like your scores can differ by like 0.05 of a point, can be the difference between first and last.
Probably it's just a lot of time, and like working around my work schedule is really difficult, but then again, like if I didn't do it, I'd be really disappointed.
I'd say the most difficult part of marching band, for being a senior at least, is the commitment to it, with having 3-hour practices nearly every day of the week except Wednesdays and Sundays. It really takes a good amount of dedication to it. And you know, at times I kind of get angry about how much time I'm wasting here. Not wasting, but have to use here. But then I also like how it's just a nice time to hang out with my friends in the band and just to relax.
The students' drive for performing a flawless show makes band arguably one of the hardest working groups here at MHS. And although their dedication gets recognized with awards and a chance to perform at Grand Nationals, the long hours spent in the heat, rain, or possibly even snow lead to some of the band members questioning, is it all really even that worth it?
Days like these, I think like that, and I just say to myself, is there anything else I could possibly do that's as fun? And the answer is almost always no.
What keeps me motivated, probably at the end of the year, we always go to Grand Nats, and last year, when we heard that we were in finals, literally the entire room lit up with like cries, and like we just exploded. And I think that's the moment whenever we're down or whenever we're really thirsty or dying, we just think of that moment, and that's what keeps us going.
Going to Grand Nats and just kind of standing there on the field, especially as a freshman, you kind of look out into the audience and you just feel this enormous, I guess, power, because all these people are looking at you and it's your shining moment.
Striving for perfection can definitely take a toll on the band members. It can affect them mentally, physically, or possibly even socially. But the repetition of rehearsing does pay off in the end, with all the awards they've won and all the lessons they've learned throughout this entire process. Every minute spent here has affected the band members, and not one of them could imagine spending their high school careers without a joining marching band. I'm Rachel Froge, MBC News.
Last weekend, the girls' water polo team took home the state title. And even though the boys' team fell short, these two juniors hope their leadership and skills will help them in next year's season. Gabe Dubois brings us the story.
Basketball legend Shaquille O'Neal once said, "Excellence is not a singular act, but a habit. You are what you do repeatedly." A perfect description of Greg Gruzak and Brad Siegman, junior captains of the Mason water polo team. The repeated excellence of these two players took them across the country to compete in the Junior Olympics.
This summer, we made it to the Junior Olympics. We're the first Ohio team ever to do it with the Moose Water Polo Club. It was played out in Orange County, California. The best players in the country all come together for that one weekend, and it really just improved my game a whole lot more because you get to see different strategies, what different parts of the country kind of play. It was just a really good experience.
Brad was the leading goal scorer on the varsity team this year, until a tragic injury ended his season.
It's a contact sport without equipment, so there's a lot of grabbing and a lot of positioning underwater that an official can't see, and supposedly he was being guarded by another player, and his hand got grabbed, and somehow the pressure of the opponent's hand on his hand caused a dislocation of the finger. And since that time, he's ended up having surgery on that hand. Obviously, when you lose somebody like this, it happens in water polo just like any other sport. You're hoping another player or players will step up and take his place.
The player who stepped up was Greg Gruzek. Already a leading goal scorer, Greg took his abilities to new levels with true video game-like statistics, scoring 146 goals this season.
I think it's just my ability, because I've been around the game so long, just be able to see the game better than everyone else. Everyone else is kind of, coach always says that we all have blinders on, and I feel like my blinders are just wider than everyone else's. I consider myself a leader. I don't consider myself the best player by any means, but I consider myself a leader in and out of the water.
This year, for only the second time in its history, the Mason water polo team qualified for the state tournament. And with Greg and Brad being only juniors, who knows what they can accomplish next year. I'm Gabe Dubois, MBC Sports.
Obviously, football season is over, but this next story is one that we started before the season had ended, and it's one that you need to see. Without the perseverance of the player and the coaches, Gabriel Rivera's season would have ended much sooner. Megan Drake has the story.
Gabriel Rivera just wanted to play football. He had the talent, he had the passion for it. He had the shoes, the shoulder pads, the helmet. But because of an Ohio High School Athletic Association law, Gabe didn't have the eligibility. In his past in Florida, Gabe endured physical and emotional abuse from a mother that never let him participate in sports. Finally, after she was put in prison, Gabe was placed in foster care. Even though he was out of his first broken home, Gabe's new families didn't provide him the stability he needed.
Honestly, you just feel like alone. You feel like no one's on your side. You feel like the whole world is against you. And you just feel like abandoned. Like, sure, you know, like you have friends and like the little family you live with, but half of them, or most of them, a good 97% of them are like just in it for the money. So you just get thrown around like an old shoe.
But in this new care, Gabe was allowed to play sports. So he found the support he needed through football.
Another reason I play football is because of the team. Because when you play football with a team, they become family. And I never really had a family before, so I just linked that up with football, and then they became my brothers.
After rebuilding his life, Gabe faced a new problem. Ohio bylaw 468 states that a student athlete must have a legal guardian in Ohio in order to be considered eligible to play. Once Gabe moved to Ohio, turned 18, and moved in with his foster brother, he considered himself his own legal guardian. But the OHSAA doesn't recognize this as exemption from the rule. Danny Mullins, an assistant football coach, helped Gabe in his fight to play.
We are so frustrated about the pace that the OHSAA is taking in addressing this, that we're moving things up to the next level. We've researched and done an awful lot of trying to dig deeper at the different angles that we can take, basically to grant him eligibility, but all the while the clock's ticking. He's already had to sit out 2 games after he was approved and declared eligible.
But Gabe took this new obstacle in stride. He saw his ineligibility as yet another chance to prove that he can rise above a challenge.
What ended up defining me, I remember my mom just like yelling at me and saying I was going to be nothing in life, and saying I'm just like my father, and saying I'm going to be a failure, and I'm going to end up being like homeless and stuff. And that just like made me think like I've never wanted to be a failure and stuff, but just because you're saying this, and just because you believe that's really going to happen, and everything that you put me through, I'm going to try my hardest to become like the best person like this world has ever known, just because I want to prove you wrong. You put me through all this crap, but at the same time, I thank you for putting me through all this crap, because it made me the man I am today.
According to Coach Mullins, this desire to fight and the zest Gabe has for life helps him overcome challenges.
Everything that we teach that Coach Kastner emphasizes with faith, family, academics, and football, Gabe personifies all of that and then some. He's been through more hardship and pain than any kid that I've been familiar with in 27 years of teaching and coaching. and he's persevered. He could have gone a totally different direction with how he responded to all of this. What he's been through, it just defies logic that somebody's still going and he's still handling that with the patience and the virtue that he's possessing. He's just a rock-solid kid that got dealt a bad hand through no fault of his own, and now he's caught up in a red tape bureaucratic nightmare that is very frustrating.
And Gabe didn't just want this eligibility handed to him.
When everybody looks back and thinks of Gabriel Rivera, I want them to know, like, everything that he's been through, he worked his butt off to achieve everything that he has in his life now.
As of Thursday, September 19th, the OHSAA finally cleared Gabe to play. So instead of just watching the game from the sidelines, Gabe gets to show people how hard he worked to play the sport he loves, football. I'm Megan Drake, MBC Sports.
Coming to you from the MBC newsroom, bringing you the worst and the best plays from football, soccer, volleyball, and water polo.
Roll it. And Danny Meyer with the far out fancy foot kick to the back post, and it's good.
Greg Grusek behind the back goal. Look my one hand. I said look my one hand.
We got Caleb taking it down the field, stepping over the ball.
Just being awesome.
I don't know what else to say. To JJ for the
volley. JJ with the volley. Alex Niehop over the head goal. Ooh, uh-oh, look at that goalie. Someone's not a happy camper.
We got Jensen Harris rolling out against the Coleraine Cardinals. In triple coverage, Brad comes down with the catch. Can't hold him back.
Holds his ground.
And from the best plays to the worst plays, we're about to bring you this broadcast, not top 5.
And could somebody please bring me a blow dryer?
We got Bryce making a sophomore varsity appearance.
Now, Bryce, you're going to have to do more than that if you want to play next year, sweetheart.
Middletown Middies volleyball with the serve.
Pep Rally 2013, Mr. Navarro trying to come in and save the day. What does he do, Cam? He falls on his boot. Boot.
Toot, Cam.
Whatever.
Eric Liddell.
Up against the middies again.
Encountering the butt inspector. I'm pretty sure he feels some type of way about that, Cam.
You would think. Garrett Frank with the whip. Dang. Matt Stewart, quick question for you, buddy. What you gonna do with all that junk? All that junk inside your trunk. Signing off on this edition of Top 5 and Not Top 5, I'm Kendall Haight.
And I'm Kent.
Now we can all admit that we've all wished, dreamed, and believed that one day we would obtain a superpower. I know I've always wanted to fly, and I'm going to continue to hold on to that hope. But we wanted to see what superpower dreams you had in this edition of Kids in the Hall.
If being a superhero wasn't cool enough, having a superpower would take it to the next level. Even though they only exist in a fictional sense, that doesn't mean you couldn't think about what you'd want yours to be. So we ask you, the kids in the hall, if you had a superpower, what would it be?
If I had a superpower, it would be X-ray vision. Teleportation, so you can just pop up, teleport to Kanye when he's in a concert, and then the cop security comes after you, just teleport right out of there.
My superpower would be to fart on command.
I would want to be able to sleep all the time.
To have super speed so you can run past all the slow people in the hall.
To be Freddy.
To join my favorite kind of video game characters.
I want to be really good at getting boys.
I'd have the power to be super smart because knowledge is power.
I wish I had the power of unlimited money.
To walk through walls.
Okay, if I had a superpower, it'd be to read people's minds because I want to know what people think about me.
Because I keep walking into the freaking lockers, and just every time.
We'll be able to fly, of course, because I could just go anywhere in the world anytime I wanted, I could just fly to the moon, back, anywhere in the universe. Breathe in space, too. That'd be cool.
Telekinesis, so I could control everything and everyone. I
would teleport to the mall and steal clothes.
I would make my dreams come true.
I would make villains pee their pants.
Because then Star Trek would be real.
I'd be like Air Jordan, I'd be flying, man. I'd be flying.
To be invisible so I can stalk the guy I like.
The ability to think really fast.
X-ray vision, and I think we know why.
To look like Jean.
To look like Kendall.
If I had a superpower, I would want to fly because I'm already really good at making bird noises.
Power to freeze, so I can make instant popsicles.
To be able to be naked without getting in trouble in public.
To make Nick go away.
Able to turn into a fish.
To eat a lot and not gain any weight.
My superpower would be so I can see through stuff.
To balance water.
I wouldn't have any superpower because I already spit flames, so I spit out.
Although you can never walk through walls or read someone's mind, you're never too old to imagine yourself with these traits. I'm Molly Huff, MBC News.
Thank you for joining us for this edition of MBC News. For everyone in front of and behind the camera, I'm Caitlin